same power that Christ brought you.
To make a change, because right away, they say, well, I got to change, right? I got to make this transformation in my life. Exactly how long it's going to take, because that could be a long process. That process can...
Marcus Hart Transform You Radio Show. The only radio show where you can make real results and start living in your purpose. Visit MarcusHartEnterprises.com. MarcusHartEnterprises.com.
Hello, my people, and welcome to the Transform You Live Show with Marcus Hart. And in case you don't know who I am Minister Dr. Marcus Hart. I am your divinity coach, as well as the guy that's always behind the camera saying a bunch of nonsense and always with that, hey, now. So we are live here at the Ambassador Hotel here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I have a very, very, very special guest here. I mean, I've been knowing this guy for a very long time now, and I'm just excited. You probably are too. You probably are wondering, well, what's up with the delay? Don't these guys supposed to start around like 2 o'clock? Yeah, we had a little bit of a pickle trying to get this going, but we are here. We are ready for you. We are exclusive, and we just thrilled to just bring you all the goodies. And I know our guest is too.
Absolutely. I'm glad to be here. Thank you, Marcus, for letting me be here, and I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. So, in other words here, our guest here is William Zenobia. I have known this guy for a very long time. He's been doing a lot of good things out in the community, with building not only what he does for a living, but also just touching the lives of everyone else and being a real good leader. William Zenobia, I mean, what can I say about him? He's the most humble guy that I know. And he probably is getting a little bit shy right now with me doing all this bragging about him. But he is an expert. When I say he is an expert, he has done things that I'm just, frankly, just, I'm humbled myself by. I would love to pick this guy's brain. I'm sure you would love to pick this guy's brain as well. He has a lot to offer you guys today. And along with that, the very interesting thing about this guy is he used to be an actor. Now, if you're looking at this handsome guy, you would say, yeah, he definitely is.
See, and I still do, actually. I still am an actor. I still do local acting. So. Okay. But.
Well, we're gonna get into it. We're not gonna waste any time, Will. So they're dying to hear from you. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, a little bit about me. Why don't we start with family, because family is something that's really important to me, and so why don't we start there? I'm married to my wife, Martina. We have 4 children, ages 11 through 17. They keep us very busy, a lot of running. If you have teenagers, you know how that goes. You do a lot of running, they do a lot of eating, and then you replenish the house, and it keeps going. So that is where I everything that drives me always starts with my faith, and then it's my family. And those are the 2 things that push me to some of the limits that I've reached over time, because I enjoy and love my family, and if you don't have family, then what are you doing it for to begin with? Exactly. That's kind of how I see it.
Exactly.
So.
Awesome. So, so you say that you're a family man. Now, what do you, what would you recommend to those who are entrepreneurs and then they have a family of their own and, and then they're having a bigger struggle with trying to manage the 2? What would you say to them?
That's a really good question, because there's times I struggle with that. It's finding the balance, and it's finding a way to shut down when you have to. And by that I mean this. If I can talk from personal experience, it's kind of like this. There's days where I run hard, I've got a lot going on, and I get home, and it's time to have dinner, and the family's there, and the family wants to sit and watch a movie. Well, in my mind, I might be saying, okay, I got to keep going, but then I've got to pull myself back and realize my family needs me to sit there and watch that movie with them. And they need me to be present in that moment with them and not have my mind somewhere else. And so that is the balance, which maybe with some entrepreneurs, they would disagree with that. They say, well, you're building a business, you got to go, 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 go. I understand, but if you run yourself to a point where you lose your family, and that time with that family, you can't get it back.
Exactly.
So it's a balance, and you got to find the balance, and it's different for everybody. It's the relationship that they have with their spouse or with their children. So the balance is different for everybody, but you got to find that balance, when you're working for yourself.
Definitely, I can't agree with you more. I struggle with that. You knowing me, I struggle with that big time, and I always just desired freedom. Freedom was always real important to me, and time is precious nowadays. Okay, is there anything like any tool that you use to like manage your time?
I have found that it is important for me to calendar. So I'll share with you this. Once with our company, probably about 5 years ago, we had Hiram Smith come and do a training. And he was a co-founder of Franklin Covey. And so if you're avid readers and you know some of Franklin Covey's stuff and some of the, 7 Habits of Highly Successful People was a book, things like that. So Hiram Smith was part of the people that helped with that company when they started to get going. And so I carry a planner around. And I know today's technology is you write everything in your phone, and that's fine. But the thing that I have found that works for me is to make sure that I have my Franklin Covey planner out, that I write in, that I know who I've called, I know what my activity's been, I know who's going where, and I know the schedule. So I think you have to make the time. You have to schedule the time, and you have to leave open spaces in your time for the things that are important. And I think that's really what it has to be, is you just have to make sure that you leave spaces.
Okay, definitely. Yeah, I like that. That's man. I'm going to adopt that myself. Just tracking everything, and some people that might seem a little bit tedious. So today.
Well, here's what I found is that I contact a lot of people, as you know. So I make a lot of phone calls. I talk to a lot of people. I meet with a lot of people. The thing I like about having it on paper is I can always write it in pencil. So if something has to reschedule or get moved or whatever, then it's an easy fix, and now I know where my schedule's open. But what I really enjoy is being able to go back. Okay. So if I've talked to somebody and it's been 3 months, it's been 6 months, then I have notes on what I have for them in that planner, and I can go back to it. So I've got the last 5-6 years of notes on people that I've met with, and so that is. Because you can always go back, and sometimes it hits your mind. Sometimes you meet with people, and whatever the purpose for the meeting wasn't the right time. I mean, even for you and I, Marcus, when we first met, just for what we were discussing, it wasn't the right time for you. Right. But I was persistent, and we stayed in touch. And I think if I had not done that and kept that in mind, then you would have fallen off somewhere, and we wouldn't be sitting here today as friends in college, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So,
well, I definitely applaud you for that, and you have given us definitely a nugget right there. I heard you say going back, even going back to some of the notes you had taken and looking at some of the appointments you had. Now, have that definitely increased, what you do, like far as like with your business, like have it increased it in some type of way?
I would put it this way: for those who are entrepreneurs out there, you're selling yourself in one way or another. Whether you're selling the product, whether you're representing a company, whether you're selling yourself. So when you connect with people, the thing that's important about the planner, at least for me, is timing might not always be right for that person. But if you remember those nuggets about people, and you go back and it refreshes your memory, then 6 months later, a year later, I've talked to people 3 and 4 years later where now it was time for them to do something with me, whereas had I left them off at the curb at, that first meeting, then I wouldn't have continued to develop that relationship. So I think that's why it's important, because as you sell yourself and as you grow in your business over time, you get better at what you do. So then you can always go back and reapproach somebody and say, when I talked to you the first time, I was getting going, this has changed. I'd like to buy you a cup of coffee and give you an update. See what's going on in your life, and then go from there. The other thing that's really important is to remember something about them. You meet with somebody, look, they all, and I'm doing a lot of talking here, so I'm, but here's what I would say. You're supposed to listen. So when you're in a meeting, take some notes. So if you are somebody who's going to follow up with somebody 6 months later, a year later, a year and a half later, if you have good notes, then you can talk to them about value, something you know about their family, something you know about their business venture, and you can refer to that in your follow-up. And as people, we like people to take interest in us.
Exactly.
So you can, if I call Marcus, and I had multiple times, and sometimes they just call me, hey Marcus, how you doing? You know, da da da, and you know, you dealt with some things, and I dealt with some things, in just things that I would remember from past conversations that I could say to you that when you listen to them, hopefully made you feel good. But again, the guy's paying attention to what I told them when I met with them. And that's what, you know, we're all in the people business.
Definitely.
And if you don't like people, then you shouldn't be an entrepreneur. Put it that way. It doesn't work.
Yeah, I can't agree with you more. You know, man, you touching all the right, you know, areas right now, and you are definitely adding value to those who may just be, you know, looking to get into network marketing. You know, is there like any specific advice you would, you know, offer to someone who may be, you know, searching around for a great business to get into, or just looking for an opportunity, but don't necessarily have the ideas themselves, you know, but they want to slide into a system?
I think there's two parts to that question, but I'll start here.
I do that sometimes.
That's all right. It's all right. We'll deal with that. I would say this as far as network marketing. I work for a consumer direct marketing company, which is similar but different. And I think for anybody who is looking for an opportunity in network marketing, here's what you have to do. You have to get rid of the hype. You have to get rid of the, I'm excited, I'm in a room full of people, and you always have to create excitement, but the reality of the excitement has to be there. So here's something that I like as a quote. Our CEO, Frank Vandersloot, said this. He said, true character is the ability to stick with the decision long after the emotion of the decision has worn off. So for some people who want to get into network marketing and they want to build a business, there's a lot of different things that I would even share with you. And I can't do that today because of notes and stuff, but it's something we call 12 success factors. And those are factors that determine whether that's the right thing for you or not. But the other advice I'd give is this, is if you're looking to get into something to create wealth, to create income, you can't dabble in it either, because nothing works if you dabble. So if you're kind of bumping around and you're just hoping on a prayer that you're going to meet the one person that's going to shoot you to the top, that sometimes happens, but other times it's real work. I mean, even network marketing has a place where it's real work. And if you don't look at it as work, it doesn't work for anybody no matter what you're doing. Okay.
Yeah, great. Phenomenal. You know, I heard you say wealth, and I'm a wealth guy.
As am I.
Wealth is good.
Yeah. Did I mention I had 3 teenagers and an 11-year-old?
Yeah.
So I understand.
Yeah. So in terms of wealth, you know, there's a lot of people who's like searching for it, and
right.
they're trying to find the right key to put inside of that vehicle to generate wealth. Now, what would that look like for you? You know, what does that look like for you?
What does wealth look like for me?
Yeah.
The thing I value and have always valued is my time and my flexibility. That is what I value. I mean, I could go down, I don't know if you're wanting me to go down the path of what would be considered materialistic things, which is certainly an area for most people. And those have value, but I guess in the end, if you have materials and you don't have anybody around you to share it with, you've got the wealth, but you don't have anything else. So when you look at wealth, it's a whole thing. So for me right now, my desire for wealth and building something for my family is not only to be able to provide some of those materialistic things that not only that we need, but things that we want, but really is to be able to gather further into ministry, as you know, because opportunities like that continue to come up, and to be able to have the stability and freedom to be able to do that is something that is a desire for me, you know. So I don't know if that entirely answers your question. It was kind of broad, but there's a lot to gather. And I mean, wealth looks different for everybody. It's, you know, sometimes it is the material, sometimes it's money to make. For a lot of people, wealth is paying your bills. Wealth is, if I can pay my bills every month right now, I'm okay. If I can get out of debt, I'm okay. And so wealth for an individual, I think, has to determine what they can comprehend in their own mind. For instance, I could meet somebody in our audience here who talks to me about building wealth, and they want to know more about my company, and they want me to train them and mentor them and lead them and guide them, but they may not be able to comprehend a $100,000 a year income. They might only be able to comprehend, you know what, if you can help me make $20,000 a year to start, then that's what you focus on, and then that wealth aspect changes over time.
Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, because I mean, in today's society, you see that a lot. A lot of people, they have huge goals and they tend to want the large income. But you mentioned something very important there. Sometimes we just got to start with, in steps here, taking baby steps, and that's what it sounds like you saying, and really more place value on what it is that will make that that immediate hunger, to feed that immediate hunger for us.
Right. Well, you've got to meet people where they're at. You know what I mean? And some people, one thing that we do, that we try to do is, and this is good for anybody in any kind of a business, if you're working with somebody, is to have somebody you're accountable to. Because if you're going to develop leadership, and that would be my thing also about network marketing. I mean, some companies will pull you in and they've gotten your money, you've done this, you've done that, and now you're on your own. Now it's now that we've got from you, good luck. And but if you keep each other accountable, and the excitement of building something with somebody is what changes that for some people, and that's also important.
So would you say that's like one of the biggest fears, that people, are like more afraid of their money being taken when they invest into like a network marketing opportunity?
You know what? I would say it's both. I would say there are those that will buy into multiple network marketing companies and never realize success, but they're looking for the right one. Now, if I can give a plug, I would say I believe that I have one that would satisfy the needs of some of the people in your audience. But having said that, it's twofold. A lot of people today, as I understand, they're afraid of change. So for some, is it a scam, right? Wow. But then if you take the other side of it, of people growing and wanting to do something, the fear is sometimes a fear of success. There's actually a book, I wish I would have thought of this when I came in. There's it was written by a woman, and I maybe I can send it to you, and you can get it out to your audience and stuff. But it was basically people who fear success. So you'll have people that will invest in this and invest in this, and never really put the effort in because they're afraid of success, not necessarily failure, but the success, which is not what most people would think, but it's a very, very real thing,
So was there ever a time where you were afraid of success, and how did you overcome it yourself?
I think, I guess the answer to that would be yes. And
honest guy.
And I think again, as people, whether we show our fears or not, they're always here. So I can talk about a couple of things I've done in the past, if that's helpful.
Oh yeah.
So there was a period where I had invested in a lot of investment properties. So I had rental properties, single family homes in the Milwaukee area here, and every time I would purchase a house for a rental property, then the jitters came, the fears came. What if this doesn't work? What if I, this, that, and the other thing? And then I would buy houses and I would rehab houses. So there's a certain amount of fear that is healthy, and then there's a certain amount of fear that you ought to recognize as it's a warning and you ought to run the other way. So there have been certain times in my life where I have had that unease fear, where I've not pulled the trigger, and later on I've realized it was the right choice. And the way I think to be able to understand fear is this way. If you have the jitter fear of something you're doing and it makes sense and you've done your homework and it's understandable and there's a certain amount of peace with it, it's probably a decent choice.
Wow.
If you have fear and it's the kind of thing that is gut-wrenching and it's keeping you up and whatever, and there is no peace associated with it, it's more than likely the wrong thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. Oh, you answered that perfectly. What you described is you described two feelings that I both that I felt both of, So.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. You're really helping me too. So,
I've been around longer than you, Marcus. That's probably why.
Well, this is Transform You, so we all about transformation here, and then every experience and every conversation can transform people.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about your acting career before, we were just about like 1 minute before we are over.
Okay. Quickly, I've been acting since 1998. I've done lots of independent films, lots of commercials, lots of industrial films. For those that you don't understand, that is something that is used internally for a corporation to train their employees. That's what an industrial film is. Lots of print work. I've executive produced a documentary. I've helped run and fund film festivals. But that goes to the wealth part. One of my desires is, because of my strong faith, is to be able to start to produce the films you see now that some of us enjoy, Courageous, Fireproof, Risen coming out, some of those, and I would like to be on the production side of that as well, and then of course maybe cast myself, something like that.
Well, it's definitely a huge market for that right now, and it's definitely exploding. So I'd definitely like to see you in one of those, or maybe write something like that.
Well, I think it gives hope to people.
Yeah, it does.
And we need hope. Yeah. Everybody needs hope. So
yeah, that's definitely something we're lacking right now.
A little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We need more hope. We don't get enough of it. I would just like to say this. This has been a phenomenal interview here. You're probably one of my best interviews. People. I think I said that the last interview, but it's definitely, I definitely mean that. It gets better and better and better. Is there any books you would recommend that the audience should read? If it's just one out of your head.
I guess one that I am reading right now, and again, I might not get this right because I cannot remember the author, but it is The Anatomy of Peace, a Harbinger Study is what it's called, and it's a 2-book series, and it talks basically about the struggle you have within yourself. So I can get more detail on that. I don't have the author's name, but I think if you look for A Piece of Anatomy, a Harbinger Study, you'll probably find it, and the book that goes along with it, which I think is called Self-Deception.
Nice. Okay. Awesome. Now, if my guest wanted to get in contact with you and learn more about what you do, and just pick your brain more, how would they do that? What's the best way to contact you?
Well, I would say this. If you're serious, you can call me on my cell phone, and that is area code 414-690-3386. And that's 414-690-3386. I am a conversationalist. I like talking to people, but if I am learning about the millennial generation and the Y generation, that they much prefer texting. So if your preference is to send me a text message with your name and your phone number, and you'd like me to reach out to you, I will do that as well and make the first contact, and we can have a conversation.
And we also got his LinkedIn page too, right on the Transform You website. So transformyoubroadcast.com. If you want to get in touch with you, we definitely will post this number with his permission, also, so you can reach out to him. Hopefully his calls won't, be.
Hopefully not. I don't know.
Hopefully won't call him at midnight or 2 a.m. or something.
And I'll give my email in there as well. So.
But yeah, that's very nice. You're probably the first guest that did that. So very, very bold approach. And, I respect that out of you.
Well, I want to help people. If you want help, I'll help you.
Okay.
That's what I'll do.
Yeah, fantastic.
My promise.
Fantastic. And you're probably the first one too who repeated it twice. So, because every other guest I have told him hey, can you just repeat it one more time?
Do it more than once. I try and do it slow. So.
Okay. All right. Well, this definitely been a real good interview here. I really appreciate you having me on the show.
Thanks, Marcus. I appreciate it.
And I know you guys enjoyed it. And if you want more of this, the recording of this will be archived on the website. And once again, that's transformu, the letter U, broadcast.com. That's transformubroadcast.com. And if you want to get in touch with me personally, of course, you can reach out to my personal website at marcushartenterprise.com. Hart enterprises.com. We hope to get in touch with you guys soon. Until then, many blessings, peace, and love. Each and every one of you guys, and may you have a blessed weekend. And until then, all right.